The viewing screen showed a creature that made even the security guards nervous. Dr. Rena pulled up the medical file with 3 of her 6 crystalline fingers while the others drummed against the desk. She had been a veterinarian for 20 standard cycles and thought she had seen everything. This case proved her wrong. The creature in Containment Bay 7 was something out of nightmares. A Varathian Night Stalker, nearly 3 meters tall at the shoulder, covered in old scars that told stories of violence. Its hide was deep black with bioluminescent stripes that flared bright red whenever something moved near its cell. Teeth like industrial cutters. Claws that had shredded reinforced steel during its last episode. 4 xenobiologists had already examined the beast. For reports, sat on Rena's desk. For recommendations, all said the same thing. Terminate immediately. Too dangerous. Too damaged. Beyond help. Rena understood their reasoning. The Night Stalker had put 3 handlers in medical care during its time at the Diplomatic Zoo on Sector 9. When station security brought it here to the Interstellar Animal Care Facility, it took 8 armed guards and enough tranquilizer to drop a cargo hauler. The creature lived in maximum containment now, behind barriers designed to hold warships. She pulled up the security footage again. Watched the Night Stalker charge the barriers when technicians approached. Saw it destroy 2 medical drones that tried to scan it. Witnessed it attack the food delivery system until the entire mechanism sparked and died. The data was clear. This animal was a threat. The door chimed. Rena touched the access panel, and a human walked in. Dr. Owen Rivers looked nothing like the intimidating specialists Rena usually worked with. Young by human standards, maybe 30 cycles. Wore simple clothing instead of formal station uniforms. Carried a worn data pad covered in scratches. He had transferred from Earth 6 months ago and mostly kept to himself, treating smaller cases that other vets considered beneath their expertise. "You wanted to see me?" Owen asked. Rena gestured at the screen. "We have a situation. 4 senior veterinarians have reviewed this case. All recommend immediate euthanasia. I need a 5th opinion before I authorize the procedure." Owen stepped closer to the screen. Watched the Night Stalker pace its cell in endless loops. The creature never stopped moving, never rested. Its stripes pulsed like warning beacons. "What's its history?" Owen asked. Rena pulled up the file. Captured young for Varieties 9 by illegal poachers. Spent approximately 6 standard cycles in fighting rings across 3 sectors. Rescued during a station raid 8 months ago. Multiple handlers injured during transport. Deemed unsuitable for rehabilitation by the rescue facility. Transferred to the Diplomatic Zoo as an educational display. 3 more incidents there. Now here. Educational display. Owen repeated slowly. Something in his voice made Rena look up. The zoo thought controlled viewing would help people understand dangerous wildlife. She explained. Owen said nothing. Just watched the screen. The Night Stalker crashed against the far wall, rebounded, kept pacing. "The reports are thorough," Rena continued. She pulled them up one by one. Dr. Hess notes, the creature's biological programming makes it an apex predator with minimal domestication potential. Dr. Kalla documented elevated stress hormones and chronic aggression indicators. Dr. Finn identified territorial behavior incompatible with captivity. Dr. Stone measured threat responses that exceed safety thresholds. "Can I see the incident reports?" Owen asked. Rena sent them to his datapad. Owen scrolled through them slowly. First attack happened when a handler approached from behind during feeding. Second attack occurred when maintenance workers used power tools near the enclosure. Third attack triggered when medical staff tried to scan the creature with unfamiliar equipment. "What do you see?" Rena asked. "Patterns," Owen said. "The reports document clear aggressive behavior. They document defensive behavior." Owen looked up from the pad. Every incident happened when someone surprised the creature or presented something it associated with pain. Look at the timing. Handler approaches from behind. Creature can't see the threat. Natural response for a traumatized predator is to strike first. Rena felt her crystalline skin shift colors slightly. Skepticism mixed with curiosity. "You think this is trauma response?" "I think this is a creature that learned the world only brings pain." Owen pulled up the footage again, slowed it down, pointed at the screen. See how it positions itself? Always facing the door. Never lets anything behind it. That's not aggression. That's hypervigilance. Fear response. It's an apex predator from a death world, Renna said. Fear seems unlikely. Everything feels fear, Owen replied. I worked wildlife rehabilitation on Earth for 8 years before transferring here. Rescued wolves from fighting operations, bears from illegal zoos, big cats from private collectors. This Night Stalker shows the same patterns as every traumatized animal I treated back home. Renna pulled up the euthanasia authorization form. Her duty was clear. Four experts agreed. The creature was dangerous. Resources were limited. Other animals needed care. The logical choice was obvious. How long would you need? She asked instead. Owen blinked. For what? To evaluate the creature properly. Your way. Not just reviewing data. 48 hours. Let me observe it directly. Run my own behavioral assessment. Renna's skin shifted through 3 colors as she processed the decision. Logic said no. Protocol said no. The reports said no. But something in the human's certainty made her hesitate. She had heard stories about Earth. Brutal world. Vicious predators everywhere. Somehow humans survived by understanding animals that should have killed them. 48 hours, she said finally. If you see no progress, we proceed with termination. Owen nodded. I'll start immediately. After he left, Renna stared at the screen. The Night Stalker paced its endless loop, stripes blazing red, muscles coiled tight. For veterinarians, saw a monster. The human saw something else. She hoped he was right. But she authorized the euthanasia team to be ready regardless. Owen sat on the floor outside the containment cell and did something nobody else had tried. He watched without expectations. The Night Stalker ignored him at first, paced its circuit along the walls. 23 steps forward, turned, 23 steps back. Over and over. Its bioluminescent stripes stayed bright red, the color that meant maximum stress. Every few minutes it would stop and stare at the sealed door, muscles tense like it expected attack. Owen made notes on his datapad. The creature never lay down, never closed its eyes, never dropped its guard even for a moment. Classic signs of severe sleep deprivation and chronic hyperarousal. He had seen it before in animals rescued from terrible situations. Hour 3 brought the first change. The Night Stalker's pacing pattern shifted. Instead of avoiding the side of the cell where Owen sat, it started including that wall in its circuit. Not approaching, just acknowledging his presence existed. By hour 6, station security checked on him twice. Both times they asked if he needed backup. Both times Owen waved them away. The Night Stalker's stripes flared brighter each time the guards appeared. Strangers meant danger in its learned experience. Owen started narrating his actions, speaking softly, keeping his voice steady and low. I'm just sitting here, not a threat, just watching. You're safe right now. The words probably meant nothing to the creature, but the tone mattered. Calm, predictable, no sudden changes. Day 2, Owen brought food. Not the standard nutrient pellets the facility used, but fresh meat from the station market. He placed it near the barrier at the same spot, the same time. The Night Stalker watched from the far corner. Didn't approach, didn't eat, but its head tracked Owen's every movement. This is for you, Owen said, stepping back. No tricks, no traps, just food. He left. Checked the security feed an hour later. The meat was gone. Day 3 brought Dr. Hess to observe. The Prithian scientist watched Owen's routine with obvious skepticism. You understand this is pointless, Hess said. His translator rendered his clicking speech into flat, logical statements. Varathian Night Stalkers are biologically programmed for violence. Trauma may amplify the behavior, but the base programming remains. Rehabilitation statistics for apex predators are 0.03% success rate. Or the statistics for apex predators, nobody actually tries to help. Owen asked. Hess tilted his angular head. Your emotional attachment to lost causes is a known human trait. It does not change reality. Reality is that creature hasn't attacked me once in 3 days. You remain outside the containment barrier. True. Owen made another note. The Night Stalker had stopped pacing. For the first time since observation began, it sat down. Not the coiled crouch of a predator ready to strike. An actual resting position. Its back legs folded, front legs extended. The posture lasted 90 seconds before loud construction noise from the adjacent bay startled it back to pacing. Hess saw it too. His optical sensors widened slightly. Interesting. It's exhausted, Owen said. Hasn't slept properly in months, maybe years. Bodies can't sustain that. Even apex predators need rest. The data shows constant aggression. The data shows constant fear. Owen pulled up his notes. Every aggressive incident happened when someone approached unexpectedly, used loud equipment, or presented medical instruments. The creature isn't randomly violent. It's specifically triggered by things that remind it of past trauma. Hess studied the data. Scientists respected evidence, even when it contradicted their conclusions. The pattern is statistically significant, he admitted. But even if your assessment is correct, rehabilitation would require extensive time and resources. Time we do not have. Resources needed for other animals. Owen understood. The facility helped hundreds of species. Limited funding. Limited space. Every resource spent on one animal meant less for others. Cold logic said abandon the hard cases. Save the ones with better chances. Give me 2 more weeks, Owen said. Dr. Renna authorized 48 hours. I need more time. Hess considered this. I will present your findings to the review board. They will decide. He left, translator clicking softly. Owen returned to his observation. The Night Stalker watched him with eyes that glowed faint yellow in the dim light. Predator eyes that had seen too much suffering. I know you're scared, Owen said quietly. But not everyone will hurt you. The creature tilted its massive head. Just slightly. Day 4, Owen requisitioned medical supplies. Pain medication. Anti-inflammatory drugs. The facility's chief medical officer questioned the request. Because it's in pain, Owen said simply. Look at how it moves. Old injuries, never healed properly. Every step hurts. No wonder it's aggressive. The medical officer approved the requisition with obvious reluctance. Owen set up a remote delivery system. No need to enter the cell. No need to stress the creature with direct contact. He loaded the first dose of pain medication into the food. The Night Stalker ate it. Watched Owen the entire time with those glowing yellow eyes. 2 days later. The change was subtle but unmistakable. The creature's pacing slowed. The limp in its rear leg decreased. It rested twice, actual rest, for 5 minutes each time. Dr. Kallick came to observe on day 7. The Tethrian veterinarian was known for emotional sensitivity to animal suffering. She had voted for euthanasia because she believed death was kinder than continued pain. She watched the Night Stalker settle into a resting position for the 3rd time that hour. Its stripes had faded from bright red to orange. Still stressed, but notably less than before. It looks calmer, she admitted. Pain management makes a difference, Owen said. Kalla's empathic sensors flickered. I still believe we may be prolonging suffering. Or we're finally ending it, Owen replied. The review board met that evening. Owen presented his findings. Behavioral changes. Reduced aggression indicators. Documented rest periods. Medical improvements. The review board gave Owen 2 more weeks. Barely. Dr. Finn voted against it. Dr. Stone abstained. Only Renna's deciding vote tipped the decision. 2 weeks, Renna said. Show measurable progress or we proceed. Owen spent those weeks building routines. Same schedule, every day. Same voice. Predictability was safety for traumatized minds. Week 1, he entered the observation corridor at 0800 station time. Sat in the same spot. Talked about nothing important. Weather patterns on Earth. Interesting cases from his old wildlife center. Stories about wolves that learned to trust again. The Night Stalker listened. Maybe. Hard to tell. By week 2, Owen started entering the containment area itself. Not the main cell. Just the observation room, separated by transparent barriers. Close enough that the creature could see him clearly. Far enough to maintain safety margins. The Night Stalker watched his every move. Its stripes stayed orange now, rarely flaring red. Progress. Small but real. Day 9 brought the breakthrough Owen had been hoping for. He sat reading case files aloud, more for the routine than anything else. The Night Stalker stopped its reduced pacing and lay down. Fully down, head resting on its front legs, eyes half closed. The position lasted 11 minutes. Owen barely breathed, afraid to break the moment. This was trust. Limited, fragile, but trust nonetheless. The creature felt safe enough to lower its guard to Dr. Hess reviewed the footage with scientific precision. The behavioral shift is documented and significant. Stress hormone levels have decreased 47%. Rest periods increased from 0 to an average of 33 minutes per day. Aggression response is down 62%. So we continue. Owen asked. The data supports continuation, Hess agreed, though I maintain skepticism about long-term viability. Day 12, Owen took the biggest risk yet. He entered the main containment cell. Security nearly stopped him. Rena authorized it only after reviewing every protocol. Medical team on standby. Emergency barriers ready to deploy. Tranquilizer systems armed and targeted. Owen walked through the reinforced door into a space that smelled like fear and old violence. The Night Stalker stood at the far end, 40 meters away. Its stripes flared orange-red. Warning colors. Not full threat display, but close. Owen sat down against the wall. Made himself small. Non threatening. He pulled out his datapad and started reading aloud. Same routine. Different location. This is a report on Terran wolf rehabilitation from 2287. Subject was a female gray wolf, approximately 6 years old, rescued from an illegal breeding operation. His voice stayed steady, even though his heart hammered. Initial assessment showed severe fear aggression and food guarding behaviors. The Night Stalker tilted its head. Listening, Owen continued reading. 30 minutes passed, then 40. The creature never moved closer, but it didn't attack either. It watched with those intelligent yellow eyes. Calculating. Deciding, T53 minutes, Owen stood slowly. Back toward the exit. That's enough for today. I'll come back tomorrow. The Night Stalker made a sound. Low. Rumbling. Not a growl. Something else. Owen didn't have words for it. He exited the cell. Security breathed again. Rena's crystalline skin shifted through 6 colors in rapid succession. Relief mixed with concern, mixed with amazement. You survived, she said. It didn't want to hurt me, Owen replied. It wanted to figure me out. Day 13, Owen repeated the process. Entered the cell. Sat down. Read aloud. This time a Night Stalker moved. Not attacking. Repositioning. It settled 10 meters closer than yesterday. Day 14. 8 meters. Day 15. 5 meters. The review board met again. This time with very different energy. Dr. Kalla's empathic sensors read emotional shift in the creature. Less pain, less fear. Dr. Finn admitted the safety risks had decreased substantially. Dr. Stone remained skeptical, but couldn't argue with the data. Termination postponed indefinitely, Rena announced. Continue rehabilitation under current protocols. Owen felt tension drain from shoulders he hadn't realized were tight. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Rena said. Maintaining progress is harder than achieving it. She was right. Day 17 brought the disaster Owen had feared that a new technician, recently hired, didn't read the protocols properly. While Owen was off shift, the technician entered the containment area with medical scanning equipment. Standard procedure for most animals. Fatal mistake for this one, the Night Stalker saw an unfamiliar person. Strange equipment. No warning. No routine. Every trauma trigger at once. IT attacked. The technician survived only because emergency barriers deployed in half a second. The creature hit the barrier at full speed. Reinforced energy fields held. Barely. Alarm screamed. Security teams rushed in with weapons ready. Owen arrived to chaos. The Night Stalker raged against the barriers. Stripes blazing red. All progress apparently destroyed in seconds. The technician was in medical care with minor injuries, but major trauma. Station administration wanted answers. The review board reconvened immediately. All 4 alien vets presented the same conclusion. Rehabilitation had failed. The creature remained too dangerous. Euthanasia must proceed. Owen tried to argue. The incident was protocol violation, not rehabilitation failure. The creature reacted to a legitimate threat, not random violence. Given proper approach, it would never have attacked a doctor. Finn cut him off. A proper approach should not require perfect conditions every time. Animals interact with imperfect beings, making imperfect decisions. If this creature cannot tolerate normal operational errors, it cannot exist in captivity safely. The logic was sound. Owen had no counter-argument that held weight. "We vote," Renna said. Her skin had gone pale gray. Regret colors. All in favor of termination. For crystalline hands raised. Dr. Hess. Dr. Calla. Dierfin. Dr. Stone. Opposed. Owen raised his hand. Alone. Motion passes, Renna said quietly. Euthanasia scheduled for tomorrow morning. 0800 station time. Owen walked to the observation window. The Night Stalker had calmed slightly, but still paced with renewed anxiety. All their work, all that trust, gone in one preventable moment that he pressed his hand against the window. The creature stopped pacing, looked directly at him. Owen made a decision that would either save them both or end his career. Owen spent that night in the observation room. He couldn't go home, couldn't sleep knowing what tomorrow would bring. Instead, he sat against the transparent barrier and talked to a creature that might not understand his words, but certainly understood his presence. "I worked with a wolf once," Owen said into the quiet darkness. "Her name was Ghost. Someone kept her in a basement for 4 years. Fed her scraps, beat her when she made noise. When we rescued her, she was so scared she tried to bite anyone who came close." The Night Stalker lay 10 meters away. Its stripes pulsed a dim orange in the low light. Awake, listening. Everyone said she was ruined. Too aggressive, too fearful, beyond saving. Same words they use about you. Owen pulled his knees up, wrapped his arms around them. "Took me 6 months, but Ghost learned to trust. She never became a pet. That wasn't the point. The point was she learned that not all humans bring pain." The creature made that low, rumbling sound again. Not quite a growl, not quite a purr. Something in between that Owen was starting to recognize as curiosity. "I couldn't save them all," Owen continued. "Lost more than I helped, honestly. But the ones I did save, they taught me something. Trauma changes beings, but it doesn't define them. Under all those scars and fear responses, there's still a heart beating, still hoping, still capable of trust if someone is patient enough." He pressed his hand against the barrier. The Night Stalker raised its head, looked at Owen with those glowing yellow eyes. "I see you," Owen whispered. "Not what they made you, not what you had to become to survive. I see who you're underneath all that." Slowly, carefully, the Night Stalker stood. Owen's breath caught. This was it. Either the creature understood, or it didn't. The massive predator walked forward, each step deliberate, non threatening. It approached the barrier until only the energy field separated them. Close enough that Owen could see old scars cross-hatching its hide. Close enough to see the slight tremor in its front legs from old injuries never healed right. The creature lowered its head, pressed its scarred nose against the barrier where Owen's hand rested on the other side. For a long moment, they stayed like that. Human and apex predator, separated by technology, but connected by something deeper. Understanding, recognition. Two beings who had both seen too much violence and still believed in the possibility of peace. "They're going to kill you tomorrow," Owen said, voice breaking. "Unless I can prove you're worth saving. And I can't do that with data. They've seen the data. They've seen the progress." It wasn't enough. The Night Stalker pulled back slightly, tilted its head in that way that meant it was processing something. "I need to show them what I see," Owen continued. "But that means taking a risk. A big one. Bigger than anything I've asked from you before." He stood. The creature tracked his movement, but didn't back away. "Tomorrow morning, before they come for you, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to ask the review board to watch one final demonstration, and then I'm going to walk into this cell. No barriers between us. No weapons. No protection." The Night Stalker's stripes flickered, orange to red and back to orange. Processing. Understanding more than Owen expected. If you trust me even a little bit, I need you to show them. Show them you're not just a violent beast. Show them the being I've gotten to know these past weeks. Owen's voice steadied. And if you don't trust me, if I'm wrong about all this, then I guess I go down believing in something worth believing in. He left, walked to his quarters, didn't sleep. Instead, he prepared a message explaining his reasoning if tomorrow went badly. Dawn came. Owen cleaned up, put on fresh clothes, made himself presentable. He sent a request to Dr. Renna. One final demonstration before euthanasia. She approved it, maybe out of respect for his dedication, maybe out of curiosity about what a human would try when logic failed, maybe just because putting him off seemed cruel. The review board gathered at 0745 station time. All 4 alien vets, station administrator, security chief, medical team on standby. Everyone who needed to witness this clustered around the observation windows. Owen stood in the corridor outside the containment cell. His hand shook slightly. He clenched them into fists until they stopped. Doctor. Renna's voice came through the comm. Dr. Rivers, you requested this demonstration. The board is assembled. Proceed when ready. Before I do, Owen said, I want to explain something. You all see threats and safety ratings and biological programming. That's your job. You're good at it. But humans come from a world where we survived by understanding predators from the inside. We learned to read emotions in creatures that should have killed us. That skill kept us alive. He touched the door controls. The lock disengaged with a soft click. You see a dangerous beast. I see a traumatized being that never got a chance to be anything else. Watch what happens when someone offers that chance. Owen opened the door and walked through. The containment cell swallowed him. The door sealed behind with terrible finality. 40 meters away, the Night Stalker stood watching. Its bioluminescent stripes began to glow brighter. Red warning colors spreading across its scarred hide. Every person in the observation room held their breath. Owen walked to the center of the cell and sat down on the floor. Made himself vulnerable. Defenseless. He pulled out his datapad and began to read aloud. The same routine. The same calm voice. The same trust he had shown for weeks. This is a report on trauma recovery in apex predators. The Night Stalker took a step forward. Security teams raised their weapons. Owen kept reading. The Night Stalker moved across the cell with the fluid grace of a creature born to hunt. Each step placed with precision. Each movement calculated. The apex predator closing distance on prey that had stopped running, that Owen's voice never wavered. Subjects showed initial fear responses, including elevated cortisol levels and defensive aggression when approached by rehabilitation staff. He turned a page on his datapad, fingers steady despite the adrenaline screaming through his system. Standard protocol was modified to accommodate trauma-informed care. 30 meters. The creature's stripes pulsed between orange and red. Warning colors. Threat assessment colors. In the observation room, Dr. Kalla covered her optical sensors. She couldn't watch what she assumed would be violence. Owen kept reading. Modifications included predictable routines, gradual desensitization, and pain management for chronic injuries sustained during captivity. 20 meters. The Night Stalker paused, lowered its head slightly, scenting the air. Owen could smell it too now. The creature carried scents of the fighting rings, even months later. Blood and fear and anger baked into its very being by years of forced violence. Progress was measured in small increments. Owen continued. His training from Earth kicked in. Never show fear. Fear triggers predator instincts. Stay calm. Stay boring. Stay predictable. First voluntary rest period occurred on day 6. First positive feeding response on day 8. 15 meters. Security Chief Garen's hand hovered over the emergency barrier control. One wrong move, and the entire cell would fill with knockout gas. The human would be unconscious in seconds. Better unconscious than dead. Doctor. Renna's crystalline skin cycled through colors so fast it looked like static. She saw what the others didn't yet. The Night Stalker wasn't stalking. It was approaching. There was a difference, subtle but crucial. 10 meters. The creature stopped, sat back on its haunches, still tall enough that its head was level with Owen's, even though he was standing and it was sitting. Those yellow eyes fixed on the human with an intensity that could crack lesser beings. Owen finally looked up from his datapad, made direct eye contact. In human culture, eye contact meant honesty. In predator culture, it meant challenge. The space between those two meanings was where trust either lived or died. "Hey," Owen said softly. Just that one word. Recognition. Greeting. Acknowledgement. The Night Stalker's stripes faded. Red to orange. Orange to yellow. Yellow to a pale blue-green that none of the veterinary staff had ever seen before. The databanks had no classification for that color. No behavioral category. No threat assessment. IT meant calm. Doctor Hess's analytical mind raced. He pulled up color charts. Blue-green wasn't listed. That color was never documented in captive specimens. Only in wild ones. Free ones. The creature moved again. 5 meters now. Close enough that Owen could see the way its chest moved with each breath. Close enough to see how its left eye had a scar running through it. Close enough to die in seconds if this went wrong. Owen extended his hand slowly. Palm down. Non threatening. The gesture he had used with hundreds of traumatized animals on Earth. The universal language of, I mean no harm. The Night Stalker stretched its neck forward. Sniffed Owen's hand. Hot breath washed over human skin. 4-3 heartbeats. Everything balanced on a blade's edge. Then the creature lowered its massive head and pressed it against Owen's hand. The observation room exploded in shocked silence. Dr. Stone's translator made error sounds. Dr. Finn's physiological readings spiked, so high the medical staff thought he was having a cardiac event. Dr. Kalla uncovered her optical sensors and immediately started recording. Owen ran his hand along the creature's scarred head, felt the ridges where wounds had healed badly. "Good," Owen whispered. "You're so good." The creature made that rumbling sound. Louder now. Clear now. It wasn't aggression. It wasn't fear. It was something the alien vets had never considered possible in an apex predator this damaged. It was contentment. Owen looked up at the observation window, saw Rena's stunned expression, saw the 4 veterinarians processing something that shouldn't exist according to their data. "This is what I see," Owen said, voice carrying clearly through the cell's audio system. "Not threat assessments, not biological programming, not even trauma responses, though those are real. I see a being that survived hell and came out the other side, still capable of connection." He stood slowly. The Night Stalker tracked his movement but stayed calm. Stripes pulsing that impossible blue-green. "You all read the same data I did. Saw the same incidents. Drew conclusions based on sound science and good practice. You weren't wrong. The creature was dangerous. Every assessment was accurate." Owen walked to the center of the cell. The Night Stalker followed. Not hunting, accompanying, but you measured what was. "I try to see what could be." Humans have a phrase. We say trauma changes you but doesn't define you. We learned that from surviving Earth. Learned it from living alongside predators that could kill us. Learned it from becoming predators ourselves when we had to. He gestured at the creature beside him. 4 xenobiologists looked at this Night Stalker and saw scars. Saw violence. Saw threat metrics and biological programming. All true. All accurate. All missing the point. The Night Stalker settled beside Owen. Sat close enough that he could feel its warmth. Close enough to rest its head against his leg. I looked at the same creature and saw a terrified heart still beating under all those scars. Still hoping for safety. Still capable of trust if someone was willing to see it. That's not emotional attachment. That's not human sentiment. That's recognition of what survival really means. Owen knelt down beside the massive predator, put his arm across its scar back. Survival isn't just staying alive. It's staying capable of connection even when everything taught you connection equals pain. This Night Stalker survived. Really survived. And it's time we recognized that. The review board was silent. Dr. Rena called for an immediate vote. Her crystalline hands moved across the control panel with decisive precision. The observation room fell into procedural silence as each board member prepared to register their decision. "We have witnessed something unprecedented," Rena said. "The question before us is simple. Do we proceed with termination or approve continued rehabilitation? Dr. Hess spoke first. His logical Prithian mind had been running calculations since the moment the Night Stalker pressed its head into Owen's hand. I vote for rehabilitation. The behavioral data is now conclusive. The creature has demonstrated capacity for trust and emotional regulation beyond any documented case. To terminate at this stage would be scientifically wasteful. One vote for life. Doctor. Kala's empathic sensors had been working overtime. She felt the emotional shift in the creature through the specialized equipment her species used. I initially voted for euthanasia because I believed death was kinder than prolonged suffering. I was wrong. The Night Stalker suffers less now than it did in our care before Dr. Rivers intervened. Rehabilitation approved. 2 votes. Doctor. Finn had built his career on caution. Safety protocols existed for reasons written in blood and tragedy. But he had also spent 40 years learning when rules needed exceptions. The human took unacceptable risks today. Protocols were violated. Standard procedures ignored. He paused, and the outcome suggests our protocols may need revision. Approved. 3 votes. Only one more needed. Doctor. Stone remained skeptical. His species valued resources and efficiency above sentiment. This facility has limited capacity. Other animals need these resources. Time spent on difficult cases means less time for salvageable ones. Owen's heart sank. 1 vote against could force a tiebreaker, but Dr. Stone continued. However, the human has proven that our assessment methodology may be incomplete. If we can rehabilitate a creature this damaged, our success rates with other cases may improve. The knowledge gained has value beyond this single animal. Approved. 4-0. The termination order was rescinded. Owen let out breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The Night Stalker seemed to sense his relief. Its stripes pulsed brighter blue-green, the color of safety, the color of trust. Rehabilitation continues under Dr. Rivers' supervision, Rena announced formally. Standard protocols are suspended for this case. New protocols will be developed based on the human approach. Security Chief Garen finally removed his hand from the emergency controls. Sir, permission to speak? Granted. That was the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen. Possibly both. Garen's species didn't smile, but his tone carried something close to respect. Owen carefully extracted himself from the Night Stalker's side. The creature watched him stand, but didn't follow. Just observed with those intelligent yellow eyes. Understanding this wasn't goodbye. Just temporary separation. I'll be back tomorrow, Owen said. Same time, same routine. The rumbling sound again. Acknowledgement. Over the following weeks, progress accelerated. The Night Stalker began tolerating other staff members. Its sleep patterns normalized. Pain decreased. The pacing stopped entirely. Doctor. Hess studied Owen's techniques. Your species reads emotional states with remarkable accuracy. Is this taught or innate? Both, Owen said. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We couldn't outrun prey or overpower predators, so we learned to read them. That skill kept us alive. Your people survived by weaponizing empathy. Never thought of it that way, but yeah. 3 months after the demonstration, the Night Stalker was transferred to a specialized sanctuary habitat. Wide open space, natural environment, other creatures at safe distances. The kind of place where an apex predator could exist without the constant stress of captivity. Owen visited twice a week. Each time, the creature recognized him immediately, would approach the habitat boundary and press against the barrier. Not begging for release, just saying hello to the one who saw past the scars. Other stations requested Owen's consultation. Animals deemed too dangerous arrived from across 3 sectors. Owen evaluated each with the same approach. Look past the data. See the being underneath. Not every case succeeded. Owen mourned each loss, but celebrated each victory. 1 year later, Rena called Owen to her office. The Galactic Veterinary Council wants you to train other specialists. I'm not sure I have a methodology, Owen said. Mostly I just see animals as individuals. Rena's skin shifted to warm amber. That is the methodology, and it's revolutionary. She slid a data pad across. 47 stations requesting training. Owen scrolled through the list. Each request came with files on creatures deemed beyond help, just like the Night Stalker had been. You proved that the most dangerous predators can still choose trust over violence. That every creature deserves someone willing to see past their worst moments. I just did what felt right. That is the most human thing about you. Rena extended her hand. The 4 veterinarians who voted to kill the Night Stalker are now your strongest advocates. Owen shook her hand. Will you help me teach them? Already scheduled. Rena pulled up a calendar. First class starts next month. 6 months later, Owen stood in the sanctuary watching the Night Stalker. Actually playing. Chasing holographic prey. Living instead of surviving. The creature saw him watching. Approached the barrier. Made that rumbling sound that Owen now understood meant hello. Friend, I remember you. I see you too, Owen said quietly. Under all those scars. That terrified heart that never stopped beating. Never stopped hoping. You taught me something. Survival isn't about being unbreakable. It's about choosing trust even after